Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for being with us on today's program. As always, we'll start things off with some contact information for the show so you know how to get in touch with us. We want to hear from you, so the best way to do that is to send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. That's the best way to get in touch with us, to let me know about the things that are going on in your community, whether it be a fair, a festival, a special event, something sponsored by your community organization or your church, anything like that. Send the information to me via email, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now, we're also looking for the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they have an odd or an interesting hobby, and you think they would be a great guest for the program as well. Those are exactly the people that we are looking for. So be sure to send me their information again to that email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. And don't forget, we also have other ways that you can watch TV24's East Alabama Today now. You can go on our website, tv24.tv, and go to the on-demand section there, and then you can see archived shows of East Alabama Today over the last several weeks. And if you have Roku, an Internet TV Roku box, those of you who have it will know what I'm talking about. We now have, for East Alabama Today, our very own Roku channel. It is set up as a private channel right now because we're still beta testing some of it, but you can go on your Roku account, go to add a private channel, put in the vanity password EAT24, and that will allow you to add the East Alabama Today Roku channel, and you can check it out on Roku as well. So multiple ways that you can view shows like East Alabama Today here with TV24. Now, we'll be back in just a moment with today's guest, so stay around. Hello, everyone, and welcome back in to East Alabama Today. And we have a special guest with us today who is joining us, and that is Eric Stringer. Eric, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Carl.
Always good to see you. It's been a while since we've had you on TV with us.
Yes, it has.
But we've got you here today. You are a candidate in the primary election coming up June 3rd for the District 1 of the Calhoun County Commission.
Yes, I am.
Well, before we get into the politics part of it, let's catch everybody up on Eric Stringer. You know you're a local guy. We've seen your name and your face around in Calhoun County for a long time, but tell us about Eric Stringer.
Well, I've been back in town for about 14 years now. I'm married, have a wife, Dolores, have three kids, Cherie and Eric Jr. and Kristen, and 4 wonderful grandkids. And it's just good to be back in Calhoun County. When I graduated Auburn University, I went to work for Campbell Sales Company, or Campbell Soup, as a sales representative, and I gained some valuable experience. And I had this itch to go in business for myself, and I moved to Birmingham and got a real awakening to being in business for yourself.
Right.
And so then I got a call to come back to Calhoun County, and I'm one of the fortunate ones that got a chance to come back. To go to work for the 2-year college system for Gadsden State Community College. That's where I've been for the last 20 years, working here in the community and enjoying it.
Now, running for a political office like county commission, where did that decision come from? How did you come about that decision to decide to do something like that?
Well, as I said, I work at the community college, and as a community and external affairs liaison at the college for many years, I had to attend county commission meetings, city council meetings in Calhoun and Cleburne County, and I found myself in the middle of what's really going on, the people that's really making a difference, meetings at the Chamber of Commerce, such as the Education Committee and the External Affairs, the Government Affairs Committee. So I got a taste of who the real movers and shakers are, and I kind of got an inside peep at what's really going on and how things get done. And I done a lot of work with Commissioner Dunn when he was still here with us, and after he passed away, I said, you're already out there and you're already involved. Let's throw your name in the hat, because I think you can make a difference.
And I know, just for myself, going to county commission meetings and city council meetings and being involved in things like that, it kind of gives you a little bit of an itch once you start seeing the process of the decisions being made in the county or in the community that you care so much about. You start getting a little bit of, I'd like to be a part of that, don't you?
Well, by attending those meetings, you find out that sometimes people who are not involved, they're kind of lost to what's really going on, and they have opinions that are not based on the real facts, and because they're not there. And so I wanted to run for this position to bring more information to the citizens and stay connected and make a difference.
And you mentioned being involved in the community through Gadsden State, but you've had several other projects that you've been a part of as well. The Hobson City Economic and Community Development Organization, that was one of the first times you and I met. You were on a couple of shows talking about that and some of the things that you've been involved with. Talk about those things and how being so deeply involved in the community like that is going to make you a better commissioner.
Well, Carl, to be honest about it, I just loved the town I grew up in, and we looked up one day and we were just in dire financial need, and a good buddy of mine, Bernard Snow, we had always talked about getting involved in the community. And when Hobson City kind of hit rock bottom right there, we decided, hey, it's time to quit talking and time to get involved. And so we actually bit off more than we intended to chew, to be honest. But we formed an organization, a 501c3 nonprofit. We went out and invited other community leaders to join in with us. Some came to the table, some didn't. Some came a little bit later on after they realized that we were really serious. But we formed an organization, and since that time we've generated somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000 or $500,000 that we've in funding, equipment, or other services into the town of Hobson City. And I guess the one thing that I'm most proud of is the new park that we are probably about 80% complete on in terms of funding for the playground equipment of $50,000, $40,000 walking trail, $38,000 pavilion. And I can go on and on with what we've done, but the most important thing in the funding that we've been able to generate into the community is how we did it. And it's those skill sets that I believe it's going to take to help with my position at the county commission. We always say it's not the what but the how, because if you know how you did it, you can repeat it. And the how is we developed a strategic plan. We developed a team. We've proven that we're financially accountable. And the whole idea of the park is to motivate, inspire, and empower the people of Hobson City to get involved, to get more involved in their community, and together we can make big things happen.
And speaking of big things, one of the things that most communities are concerned with at this point is economic development. You got to, as the job market changes and fluctuates, and the economy goes up and down and fluctuates, one of the big things that community leaders look at is bringing jobs for their citizens and keeping jobs for their citizens. So economic development is something that is important to you as a candidate.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, I'm one of the fortunate ones that got to come back. Many times in our communities, because of a lack of jobs or a lack of diversity in jobs, our children and our grandchildren they get out of high school or college and they leave because we just don't have enough of what we need in Calhoun County to keep them there. Through my work with the County Commission and Commissioner Dunn, they thought enough of me to appoint me to the McClellan Development Authority. So for about the last 3 years, I have been the County Commission's appointee there, and economic development is number one for the McClellan Development Authority, and we've done some great things here in recent years. We recently just brought IAC International Automotive Components is bringing 356 jobs into Calhoun County. We just received our $56 million from the Army to complete the cleanup at McClellan. We now have the funding in place to complete the bypass, which is going to open up the northern end of the county again. And so in terms of economic development, we are well on the way to moving Calhoun County forward. But there are some things that had to take place to put us in that position, and I've really enjoyed working with the MDA, and I've gained a wealth of knowledge by working with the professionals that's on that board with me.
We need to take a commercial break, so let's go ahead and take care of that right now. And we'll be back in a moment to continue with Eric Stringer and talking about his candidacy for Calhoun County Commission in District 1. We'll be back in just a moment. Now we welcome you back into East Alabama today. We're visiting with Eric Stringer. Eric is a candidate for the Calhoun County Commission in District 1. And we were talking about economic development and those kind of things. And how does Calhoun County compete with other areas of the state? All communities, Etowah County, Mobile, South Alabama, all communities are in a struggle to compete for businesses and industries they're wanting them to come into the community. What does Calhoun County need to do to be competitive with those other areas of the state? Well,
I think one thing that we need to do is, in Calhoun County, we've kind of depended on the government. We've been a military community. In terms of, we lost Fort McClellan and the jobs that are out at Anniston Army Depot. So we've kind of depended on the community, on the government. And I think to move forward, we have to strengthen those relationships that we still have with the government, but we need to diversify. We need to look at a lot of different industries to see about bringing into Calhoun County. Wind energy, some of the high-tech industries that are located out on the West Coast. We have to diversify, and I think we kind of got lulled to sleep for a long time because we were moving forward, and all of a sudden, we wake up and we start losing jobs. One thing that's going to truly help with economic development is we have to make sure we have the best schools. And as industries come out to talk about locating at McClellan, we keep getting the question about, about your school system. And we have great schools in Calhoun County. The Oxford system is booming. The Calhoun County schools is doing well, Jacksonville. And then to the north, Piedmont is just, it's
tremendous what they're doing.
They got it going on up there. I mean, people are coming from all over the country to take a look at Piedmont City Schools. And then we have some issues in the Anniston City School system that we must address. I have had several meetings lately with the new superintendent, Dr. Darren Douthit. I think he's going to be great. He has started a strategic planning series for Anniston City Schools. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I spent 2 hours participating in that strategic planning process. We can make a difference at Anniston City Schools. We got great kids there. They got great teachers there. I mean, they go to the same universities. They take the same credentialing exams and things of that nature. But we got to help. The community has to step forward and help the superintendent and the teachers. And I think the role that the commissioner can play in that is to help fund some mentoring programs, to reinforce those values that are being taught at school by the teachers and the coaches of Anniston. One of the programs I'd like to bring into Calhoun County, we had it at one time, is the First Tee program. First Tee is a program where you teach kids how to play golf, but more importantly, there are 9 core values that the kids learn, and some of those are like respect, sportsmanship, integrity, honesty, confidence, responsibility, judgment, courtesy, perseverance. These are some of the things that kids learn who play sports.
Yeah.
But all kids don't play sports. And even if you learn it in sports, it needs to be reinforced back in the community. And that's where we're going to need our faith-based community to get involved. The commissioner himself will not improve schools. That's not necessarily his job.
Right.
But he is to be a part of it.
He can encourage.
He can encourage and he can support, and he's got to do more than just write a check. He's got to roll up his sleeves and get involved in the process for turning the school system around. And I think ultimately that will help economic development.
Let's take that a step further into technical education. Gaston State has been one of the leaders in the state of doing technical education things, because when industries look at a community, not only are they looking at their middle schools and high schools and the education of the kids that are going to eventually possibly be their employees, but they also want to look at the technical education aspects of it. Is there a way to teach those potential employees the technical things they need to know to work for Honda or BAE or for any of these big companies that are very technical related jobs? Well,
actually, sometimes in the 2-year college system, we have there's a saying that I don't like. It says we're the best kept secret in town. Well, I don't want us to be a secret,
right?
And we're not. But a lot of people really don't know how many people we put to work, how many lives we changed at Gaston State. Just this week, Anniston had a group of kids to come down to be tested. The superintendent and I, and we have we're in discussions about how we can get more kids into our dual enrollment programs, where a kid can actually complete high school and get his associate degree right there at the college. And there are programs out there. I think the legislature just passed a budget. I think it's about $5 million, and don't quote me on that amount, but I know it's a lot of money that's set aside for programs like that. And I just know that at Gaston State we really make a difference and change lives, and we've got to get our schools, our high schools and things more involved in those dual enrollment and those ESEP, which is early school program.
Now, District 1, for the people who are not familiar with the district lines, most of the city of Anniston is in District 1. If you want to talk about what other areas are in that district as well, what are some of the other areas?
Well, District 1 is a pretty large district. It covers, there's about 1,000 votes in Oxford, so it covers a small part of Oxford, and it pretty much covers everything west of Quintard, which is Hobson City, Constantine, Glen Alley, West Anniston, Thankful, Central City, Blue Mountain, all the way to Fort McClellan. And then there's only 2 or 3 blocks east of Quintard. But I would estimate that there's probably 85% of District 1 is within the city limits of Anniston. And that's why the commissioner's role is so important, because I think the commissioner has to be a part of, he almost needs to serve as an extra city council person, because so much of his district is within the city limits.
You got to have a very close relationship with Anniston city leaders just through necessity.
You got to have a very close relationship with them, as well as the superintendent of the schools. And it's not your job to step on their toes and do and try to do their job, but you must partner with them.
Absolutely. Now, if you're elected, what kind of plans do you have for continuing to stay in touch, letting people in your district know how to get in touch with you, what's going on? Is there a strategic plan there for making sure that the citizens of your district are always informed of what you and the commission are doing?
Well, I like to take the same model that we've used with our Hobson City Community and Economic Development. And I have a wonderful, wonderful board of directors, and everything that I've been able to accomplish, I've been able to accomplish it in a team concept. So we've done this, and I believe that it's going to take that. I like to take that organization. There's an organization out in the Thankful community already in existence, and I like to pull key people from other parts of District 1 into a leadership team and meet on a regular basis. I'd like for us to sit down and figure out what our low-hanging fruit is. What can we do right away that won't take a lot of money? I'd like to take each segment of that of District 1, take those leaders and say, what are our major priorities? What are our top 3-5 priorities? I'm real goal-oriented. I like to be able to say, hey, we're going to do something, and a year from now stand back and say, well, we said we were going to do those 3 things and we accomplished that. Now What can we do next? So I'm goal-oriented, I'm team-oriented, and I intend to develop teams within District 1 and have regular meetings. The one thing I've thought about, I know that already there's I think once a quarter, the county has what they call a large item pickup day. Mm-hmm. And I can see us tying a meeting, in a quarterly meeting into the large item pickup day. Maybe we meet the day before, but keep people connected and have great listening sessions, because it's not about what I want. I have some ideas, but my ideas has to mix and blend with the community, and we need to reach a consensus to what we want to accomplish. And I'm absolutely sure most things we can do. In Hobson City, we had an old City Hall building down there that my dad built, and we decided that it was in the middle of our park and it needed to go. And we got an estimate on what it would take to take the building down, and we were told $50,000.
Wow.
Well, we wrote it down. And you don't just walk around saying, we're going to tear down a $50,000 building and you have no money.
Yeah.
But because we committed to it, and we went out and found a partner in Mr. Gene Hefcock and Fabark Steel, we accomplished that feat because we committed to it. We planned the strategy, we determined who our partners would be, and we made it happen. And I think that's the same way it has to work throughout District 1.
Before we go to our break, we've talked about big things like economic development, education, and things like that. But the day-to-day operation, the day-to-day worries a lot of times of a commissioner are dealing with potholes in the roads, getting the grass cut on the right-of-ways, things like that. Talk about those day-to-day activities and the importance of those. When a citizen calls you and says, I've got a pothole in my road, I need it fixed, those kind of things.
Well, we're real fortunate in Calhoun County that we're not one of these broke counties. There are some counties down in the Black Belt that they just don't have funding. And I'm not saying the commission is rolling in dough, but we are pretty adequately funded, and we have great staff. So to have oversight of the budget for the different departments, at the county, the staff is there. It just takes communicating. If someone calls and say, I got a pothole, I mean, quite naturally, you just can't run out and fix it. But you have to listen, and you have to listen to that person, and you have to make pick up the phone and contact the right people to try to address it.
Right.
Hopefully, that steering committee that I come up with from the different areas, they will know who their contact person is, even if they can't get me, and they should be able to get me one way or another, but they ought to be able to get somebody within that steering committee to address those needs.
So we're going to take another commercial break, come back with a quick wrap-up segment in just a moment. So stay with us as we continue our visit with Eric Stringer, candidate for Calhoun County Commission in District 1. We'll be right back. And we welcome you back in our final segment of East Alabama today with our visit with Eric Stringer, who's a candidate in the primary election coming up on June 3rd for Calhoun County Commission in District 1. And Eric, we'll let you just talk to your camera there and talk directly to the voters. What would you like what's the final message for the voters today?
Well, I guess my final message to the voters is that elections are very, very important. And I know a lot of times people don't go vote, or people think that they think that nothing really changes and it doesn't matter. Well, that's not true, because actually when you don't go vote, you're really casting a vote for somebody else. Things can change in Calhoun County, but we have to change the way we view things. And we can't just go out and vote for a guy because he's a church member. We're frat brothers. We were classmates. We have to really dig into the issues. And we have to find out what it is we want, and we have to look at the qualifications of the candidates. We have to look at their track record. I will put my leadership skills track record. I will put my community service track record up against anybody's. Do the research and make a good decision, because your decision is going to determine who sets the pace for the next 4 years in economic development, who sets the pace for the next 4 years if the school systems get better. Your decision is going to decide if your kids and grandkids can get out of school and live in Calhoun County, or if they're going to have to leave. So I'm asking for your vote. Somewhere in this process, I'm sure you'll see my telephone number. I welcome all phone calls. And if you have an organization or a group that you would like for me to come in and speak to between now and Election Day, give me a call and I'll be more than happy to do that.
Eric, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best wishes with the election on June 3rd. And folks, we encourage you to get out. There are not a lot of primaries on the ballot, so it is, a lot of people will say, not a lot of reason, but there is reason to go out and vote in the primaries in your community. So go make sure you do that on June 3rd. We thank you for joining us here on East Alabama today, and we'll see you next time.